If you go to Vectrix.com, you'll find under Vectrix Community, easy for me to say, free projects. See it right there? So if I click on free projects, all these different things come up. There's a lot of neat stuff you can get free on Vectrix. And if you do a search for phone amplifier, you'll find the project we're working on. When you do that, this comes up. And that's what we're going to make, a phone amplifier. It's a box that allows you, right there, to drop your phone in and it amplifies the sound coming out. So that's what it looks like finished. Let's see how ours turns out. Alright, what we're going to do is we're going to actually take a file that's free from Vectrix and make a phone amplifier. The phone amplifier is basically a box that allows you to amplify the voice coming into it and the voice coming out of it. Everybody's doing a lot of Zoom calls and all kinds of stuff that require a conference call. And sometimes the people at the other end aren't loud enough for you to hear, so this allows you to amplify it a little bit. So it makes it louder than your volume control could go, for example. So instead of creating the new file, Vectrix gives you this program. So we're going to actually go to a file open right there. And Aaron Leham made a phone amplifier. So we're going to import his file right there. See it? Phone amplifier. We're going to open it up. Part of the problem with this is that we look at it first right here to see what's going on. And you see it's single-sided, but it's also metric, which I don't have any metric lumber over here, unfortunately, in the States. So I'm going to click inches. When I do that, it changes a few variables. It changes this to start with, and this, and this. So I need to change some of those things. I'm going to make them inches. So when you open this file, you can do 24 inches, 12 inches, which makes sense. And our thickness, because we're going to use plywood, is 0.75. We're going to play off the surface, and I like to go to the center of my board, so that's where I'm going to go, because I'm going to clamp these outer edges. So I don't want my clamps in the way of the material I'm working with, so I'm going to do a few things that way. I'll go to the center, and it's Canadian maple, and that's good enough. And we say OK. It says all these things have changed. Do you want to recalculate these right now? And I say no, I don't. And what you're seeing there, if I go over here, there's some tool paths on. So if I turn these off, I should be able to zoom in to this down here and see it. So I'll click here, go to zoom, do it again with my window. Zoom a little tighter. There we go. You see my 0 is in the middle, so that should be at 6 inches there. And it's 24 across, so that should be 10 or 12 inches right there. See it? So, what do I know? Well, if you check, first thing you should do is check and see how wide your phone is. My phone is, let me get the ruler out, it's a little over 4 inches wide. Nope, a little over 3 inches wide because I have a case on it. Some of your phones are 4 or 5 inches wide, depending on what kind of monster phone you've got, or if you're using a tablet. So if you've got those things that are different, you might want to change the number of dividers or spacers you have here. I'll include a photo down here, on here someplace when I edit this, so that you can see what the product looks like as we go along. It's basically a sound box, like they make inside of speakers. These come together with these 4 parts here to make the center, and if they're 3/4 of an inch, 4 of them is not going to do it for me. I need at least 5. So I'm going to have to rearrange this and get 5 of these. I don't want to change this spacing here because all these line up. These are holes for assembly. This one, this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one, and this one, and this one are through holes. These go about 3/4 of the way through, because I'm going to put this together with wooden dowels. He uses a little more complicated system to put them together, and I'm not going to do that. I'm going to use a wooden dowel so it assembles them all together, and then use a clamp when I glue them. But I need one more of these, and as you can see, one more of these, and I'm going to try to fit all that on here, and I think I can do that. So let's select that. Look, see, he has them all grouped together. So I'm going to break that apart. So what happens when you get files from somebody else? You have to make sure you know how to edit. So I'm going to copy this, then I'm going to paste it. And if you remember, I can drag this down and it all stays together. So that would fit right in there if I have enough clearance. I'm going to use a 1/4" tool to cut this apart. So I think I'll move this one up. And I come over and select my edit or move tool. So I'm going to move that up. And I can also see that one's still pretty close over there. I'm going to move this one out a little bit like that, because I need a 1/4" between all these. One of the easy ways to determine whether you have enough spacing between your parts, let me show you another trick, is you come over here, click out here so that all this is turned off, and I want a radius of not 6.5 inches but 0.25 inches, which is a 1/4" diameter tool. That's what I want right there. So I'm going to bring it over here, and if you notice, I'll click it. That's 1/4". That's my tool diameter. Now if I double click on it, or click on this move tool over here, I can move this around and see if it fits safely in there. It's easier if you have your snaps off, but you can see that it fits. Right here it might be a little tight, but it's not. It fits. So I made one more of those. Now I need to make one more of these. So I can go back to my selection or edit tool. So how do I get one more of these, and where am I going to put it? Well, I don't think it's going to be that hard. Let's do this. I push my shift key. You can see that I can select this one and add it to the group. And I think I need to move this one too. I'm going to shove it in that way. You remember, see that right there? I don't want to get that too close, so I think I'll rotate this just a little bit. Do you know where your rotate tool is? It's right there. Or you can come up here and grab, there's a rotate corner that allows you to do that too. But I'm in rotate, so let's try an angle of 10 degrees. Apply that. See it? There we go. If you notice, I'm a little close to that edge, so I'm going to close this, go back to my selection tool, and move it down a little bit. Just a little. Just away from the edge. Now, I need to make sure that that tool will fit in between there. I can measure that, or I can drag that tool down and slide it in there. So if I hit escape, click on that, move it down, see if it fits. I think it's a little too tight. See it right there? Yeah, that's a little too tight, so it'll make a burr on that piece. So I'm going to move it that way. So let me grab that and move it out of the way. Grab this, and if you notice, I hit shift key because I don't want to lose that hole and that hole. Go back to my move tool and move it right in there. Now, it doesn't matter whether I go off the board there, as long as I don't go past that line, because I can cut out just a piece off there, it'll be fine. Now, what else can I do? Because I need one more of these. I need 5 of them. Well, I think we can lay this out a little better. Let's take that one. If I go here, I can move it. And if I rotate it 90 degrees, and move it over this way, or up that way, maybe even all the way up that way, for now. And let's close that and group that together. Just for now. I'm going to come get this one, hit my shift key, there and there, and do right mouse click, copy, right mouse click, paste, and then I'm going to drag it down here someplace. And then I'm going to come over here, even though it's laying on top of the other one, and rotate it 180 degrees. That flips it around. And I'll close that. Click on it again. That activates the move function. Move it right in there. A little bit more. You can see I'm more than a 1/4 inch away. So, remember I got this piece hanging up here. Will it fit in there? Yeah, well, I come up about like that. That'll be fine. But I want to move it in a little bit, so I am going to move it up here. Oops, lost it. Double click, and it activates the move function. Move it up there. I want to move these 3 closer this way, so I'm going to start with this. Then I'm going to hold my shift key, select that one, and then I'm not going to move it with my mouse. I'm going to come over here and move it, activate the move function, and then use my arrow to click on it to activate it. I'm use my arrow keys and just nudge it this way a little bit. Okay, that looks good. Now I'll hit my escape key. I'll grab this one, move it down. Alright, so that gives me 5. And I could probably rearrange these and get some more, but that's enough for now, for my piece, for what I'm doing anyway. So that gives me 5. I don't like that one being so close, so what I'm going to do, I think, is kind of, remember I said there's a handle you can grab right there, see it? I'll rotate that a little bit like that. See, there's enough space in there to get by in there and up there too. See what I did wrong? I'm going to have to hit edit undo. What I did is, when I did that, I forgot to grab these. See the circles? So I have to hit shift and grab those. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I'll come up and grab that and rotate it down. And the circles will move with it. There. That's it. Now I'll save this file. Save as. And I've got it down here on this, but I don't want to put it there. I want to put it in my documents. And it's going to be a project file. It's a new one. So it's a family project for me. And I'm going to call it, put a new folder, Phone Amplifier. Because if this works as good as I hope it does, I might make some more of these for the kids and the grandkids and the aunts and uncles and all that stuff. So we'll save it as a phone amplifier. Now the problem I'm going to have is that I moved a bunch of things around, so I'm going to have to calculate a few things. So let's take a look at his tool paths. This is the first one. It's a profile cut. See the edge right there? And it looks like, yep, he's cutting out all the circles of a profile cut on all these pieces. And if you remember, I added some pieces, so I'm going to need to add those holes in. Before I do that, I'm going to click on this, and let me cancel this. I should have closed that first. Select that off. Go here. Now let's look at that profile again. Alright, so you notice those were there, but the new ones that I added aren't there. So I'm going to do a shift, click, here and here, and then this was the new one that I added. And I think I'll group those together to make it easier to select those in the future. The reason they're different from these is these don't cut all the way through, these holes on the end plates. The ones in the center do, so the rod can pass all the way through it. But to do that, I have to cut it the depth of my board, which is 0.75, but I'm going to go a little bit longer or deeper so that I actually go through into the spoil board. So it's going to be 0.76. And I'm going to select a tool that will work for me, which would be a 1/4 inch end mill. See if I have one up there. Should have right there. So I select that. Then I'm going to edit that and see what pass I can do. I know on my machine I can do 2/10 without any problems. So it's a 1/4 inch. Step over normally for me is a little higher than that, about 0.1 to 0.15 without any worries, 0.125. Speed's a little high, but I can adjust mine. I always start mine out slower because of my teach pendant. I'd put that at 80 maybe and this at 30. But with my teach pendant, I'm going to slow that down anyway, so it'll be fine. I want to do on the inside of the hole, which makes sense. And let's see what it does. And we're going to rename that. We're going to call it through holes. And we're going to use dash 25 because I can't use point end mill. And say calculate. And it tells me that it cuts through the board, which is what I want. So let's preview that. Just that tool piece, which is the visible one. Boom. See all those nice little holes? Yay! It worked. Now, we'll go back to our viewing tool. So we get that part done. Let's look at the next one. Open it up. This one says, let's see what, yeah, see these are these holes. He's going down 0.3. I'm going to go a little deeper than that. I'm going to go down to 0.5 to give my dowel some place to, because he does it a little differently than I do. I'm going to use the dowel into that. Again, I'm going to select a 1/4 inch end mill. And then I'm going to edit it like I did last time. I'm going to make this 0.2. The step over doesn't matter. This doesn't matter either because the speed's going to be adjusted. So it does it in 3 passes. Again, we want the inside, and we'll calculate. So these holes, when we preview these holes, they should go part of the way in. See them? So they go part of the way through it. That way my dowel sticks in there. I'll have it glued in place, and this box will be all held together and glued straight and fancy. All right, let's see what the next one does. This says profile. It uses a lot of profile paths. This was a profile all the way through. We're not going to use that tool. So we're going to get rid of that tool. we're going to say delete that. Let's look at this one. This is also a profile tool. Not sure what he's doing there. There's nothing turned on over here, so we'll close it. Look at the next one. Next one. Yeah, that didn't show up either. So we're going to take this profile. We're going to open it up. And we're actually going to use it to cut out our boards, 0.76. We're going to select a 1/4 inch tool, end mill. Select. We're going to do the outside, which will cut out the outside boards. Yeah, I guess we could do our last pass. And we're going to have an allowance of, see how it's going to go in? We'll put 0.01. What that does is it cleans up the outside of the material. We are going to add tabs. That looks like about right. We're going to make these length is 0.2, and then we're going to make the thickness of 0.1. That should work all right. And we want to edit our tabs just to look at them and see what it looks like. Oh, no vectors are selected, so I guess we need to do that, and we're going to have to hit our shift key because there's going to be a lot of them. Let's draw our box right down through here, get all those, and then this one, this one, this one, this one, this one. You haven't looked up tabs. Tabs basically hold your piece in place while it's being cut out. One of the things that you want to do on tabs is you want to put it someplace that it's easy to sand. In other words, you don't want to put it right there on that tip because it wouldn't be easy to sand there. It would be hard. Like this one's kind of I want to move it away from that V into a flat. How do I do that? Well, I click on the tab and move it. Oops. It's not letting me do it. That's because I'm not in Edit tab. So I have to hit Edit tab. Now I can move it. I should be able to move it. See it, how the pointer, if you will, your selector changes? See, that one's right in a bad spot too. Move it up and away from any movement, if you will. Like this should be on a flat. Those are pretty good. Those are pretty good. This is all curved anyway, so it's not a real good place to put it. So we'll put these up and away. You just click on it and drag it is what I'm doing. Seeing you over here that look bad? Speak up, speak up. Oh, sorry, can't hear you. Oh well. Alright, that looks good. So we'll close this. We're done editing our tabs. And then we're going to say what? Calculate, of course. But we're going to rename this. We're going to say cutout parts. And it's going to tell us, of course, and calculate it, that we're going to cut through our material. And we say that's fine. So there we go. And let's look at it and see what happens. There we go. See anything that looks like it's going to fly out of there? No, not really. Okay. So, if you don't have tabs, you can double click on this and look at all the parts. What I'll take is a razor blade and cut these out. That one is a little iffy. It's right on the edge. Should probably move that up there. In fact, I think I'll do that. See it right there? It's getting close to that part, so I want a little firmer grasp or hold on that. Any others that I need to edit? I can move this one down too. This one. And this one gets eaten through the board right here. So I guess I should move that and that up just a little bit, because this is weak here, and if it's real weak there, my hold down might not be as good. So I need to move those two up. Okay. Close that. Come back over here. Hit this button. Remember, these are all together. So if I move this part of it, those are going to move. So I have to break those apart again. Like here. Click here, and then just select this. And then hit Shift. And select this one, this one, this one, and this one. Move it up. That gets far enough away from the edge that it shouldn't be an issue. But you got to realize that there's a couple things I need to do now. I need to redo this one, because when we drill the holes, if I don't redo it, through holes, well, that's fooey. Close this and see if I open it with nothing selected, if it'll work. Call up the one. No, I didn't. I lost it. So what I have to do now is select all these holes over again. That one. Hit my Shift key. That's why I had them grouped together. But when you move them separately like that, sometimes it takes time. And remember not to select these, because these are not through holes. Those are only partial holes. But we didn't change those. Don't need to redo that part. Only the through hole. You can select these individually, or you can do what? Use a drag mouse like that and try to get more than one. But these are weird shaped objects. Makes it sometimes tough to do that. Hope I'm not boring you. So there we go. That one, 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 and one more. Is that all of them? Look at it, look at it, look at it. Come back over and group those together. And then they'll turn a nice pink color for you. All right, let's calculate it now. And we say that's okay. And if you look, you're going to see extra holes where we weren't before. See them there? So we have to do a reset preview. And say preview all toolpaths. And I was hoping it would do it, but it didn't. You see what it didn't do? See that hole out there? We got to redo our cutout path too. I thought we would have to, but I wanted to show you. You always test it before you do anything. Okay. It's got my tabs are in a safe location, so I recalculate that. It's going to tell me. Now, preview all toolpaths. All right. See, what we did was we made that so it was a little more solid, because I'll have a clamp down here. We were going to move one other, weren't we? This one. And I was going to move that up a little bit. So to do that, I go back to my tube view, do my cutout, edit tabs, move this one up just a little bit, right in there. Close it, recalculate it, say OK. Reset my preview, preview all toolpaths, and look for any other issues. See, we moved that up so it wasn't so close to here. That one looks good, that one's fine. Yep, so we're going to have a clamp way out there and way out here. In fact, if you measure from here to here, you can actually put a clamp there if you want to. But I'm going to put them right on the edge. So, there we go. Now, I'll take this to the lab. In fact, what I'll do is close this, and we need this toolpath, We'll cut our holes first before we cut our parts out. Keep that in mind. So you put them in order so that when you save it, it does all three of them at once. See them highlighted up here? And it will do them in order. So you do your 3 holes, related or rebated, they call it, dowel locations, which probably in their language and ours too, it means not all the way through the board. They just go partially through. I have a CNC Shark, and we're doing it in inches, so I save it. I will call it, and you see what it does is it picks the top one right there, and that becomes its title. I'm going to put it in here, and I see CNC files right there. This is going to be a new folder, because this one is phone, remember? Phone amp. Hit enter. Then I double click on that file to open it up, and I change this to phone amp files. Well, I don't need to add file because obviously it's a file, but it's 12 by 24, and material is 3/4, which I'm not going to put in, but I am going to put in the size of the cutting tool. It's 1-4 in mill, and all that will come up in my Shark so that I know what it is. That tells me the size of the board, and one other thing I'm going to do is tell me that it's in the center. That way I can put my center marks on it, and then I'll save this file, and I'll go to the wood shop and cut it out, and I'll have those files in part 2, phone amp, so this doesn't get too long. All right, I close this. I don't need these tool paths, so I'm not sure what they were for, so I'm going to delete this, and I'm going to delete this, because they are in my original file that from him. So now I'm going to save this file. And if you remember what I saved it as, I hit save as, it'll come up. See it? Phone amplifier in documents. So that, and it was saved today, 2/9, into 11/14, getting close to lunch. So I'll cut this out after lunch. So there it is. Looks good. We'll put it together. I've got to go get some more 1/4-inch dowel and dry fit it, and then glue it together, and then test my phone with it. So you have a great day. Have fun with your CNC. Thanks for watching.